And
Oh, hey, how you doing, guys?
hey, we are talking about Munsters and Addams Family before we even start. And I was just telling him that actually the Addams Family and the Munsters opened uh, not quite against each other, but in the almost exact same week. They
Wow,
also went off the air in just about the same week.
wow,
So, um, yeah, it was they were both in production around the same time. It's a weird time in the '60s when Monster Mania kind of took over.
yeah,
And you had the resurgence of the Universal monsters, you had the Addams Family, and you had some kind of not real what we would consider horror movies and stuff back out in the theaters again. And you had the Aurora model kits and all that stuff. What's
oh,
up,
those were good
Ronaldo?
kits. Those were good kits.
Those are great.
Orlando, how you doing?
And oddly enough, I've never bought the Addams Family one. They've it's never been out of production, but I don't know why. It just whenever I see it, I'm like, it's $40 for a little plastic model that I'm not ever going to put together.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you know,
I love your ghosts behind you. That from Dino. I love those.
oh yeah,
He
no,
showed me a picture
not
of those
Friday, it's
before.
Thursday, and we're talking about Wednesday.
He told me he showed me a picture of those before he mailed them out. I was like, "Oh, where'd you get them?" He's like,
I know, and I did not go. I had stopped by Home Depot for something, but I
"Yeah,
hadn't
but I
been to
didn't know
Knowles
they."
and looked at their Halloween stuff this last year.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Yeah,
And by the time I got over there, they were like, "Oh no, we clearanced all that stuff
yeah.
out."
Everything was
Oh
gone
god,
at mine. Yeah, yeah,
like oh man. So I'm super happy Dino got those for me. I
yeah.
just got to figure out where I'm going to put them in the end, and they may end up being kind of somewhere around there. But that's actually kind of where I stack other things,
Yeah,
and so I can get in because there's a closet
right
over
there.
there that
Yeah,
has a whole bunch of stuff in it that I need
but
to get.
above it isn't above the closet all the
Yeah,
ghosts. Yeah,
above the closet is a haunted mansion
yeah,
stuff,
stuff.
but I think they're too big. They're
Oh
too
no, they're not gonna.
bulky to sit up there
Yeah, of course.
because
Yeah,
it's just those baseball uh,
yeah, yeah,
displays.
yeah.
So,
Hey Rick, Left Coast, how's it going?
Ghost, what's up?
Gemma,
John,
hello,
how you
hello.
doing?
Jonathan,
Mr. Edmund, how are you? Ooh, really?
trailer now. I'll be right back.
Hmm, that makes me want to pause the entire stream.
Should we do the kids? Can you do the present button and present the?
I don't know. Let me look it up. Let's see, Indiana Jones, because I mean, then that's going to derail us horribly. But
Well, I'm drinking chocolate milk, so you know.
there it is. Let's see, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones official look, Harrison Ford. That is not a trailer. Um, let's see, 5 trailer.
What is it called? The deal of destiny or something?
Spear of Destiny.
Well, the spear of destiny makes sense. Is it? But I thought it wasn't the spear. I thought they named it something else. I thought. But is it named Spear of Destiny? Okay, well that makes
Well, it
sense
says
then.
Spear of Destiny, but I don't see a trailer. I see a 1 minute making of thing. It looks like. Okay, let's see. Let me get this Zupu ad out of the way here in a sec. To a new window. Okay, present. Share screen.
I saw the Spear of Destiny. We went and looked at it.
Uh, Man, where can
It's
I
the
not
spear that
share a
long.
screen from YouTube?
It's the spear that Longinus stabbed Jesus Christ with.
Hmm.
Right here.
Well, shoot. I don't know how to do that then because it's not coming up on my share screen thing.
Well, that's okay. We can watch it later.
Yeah, it's only
It's
a
not
minute.
really a trailer,
It's
I
not a real
guess.
trailer.
Yeah.
So, but now I have this stupid share thing up. I hate this thing. It never goes away now.
There's
Oh,
no
well.
stop sharing.
No, it just has this gray thing up there that says select a window, and it'll stay there the rest of the stream now for me to see. I hate it, but I usually leave streams and come back when that happens. But so anyway, it's not a real trailer, but we'll catch it later.
Yeah.
Looks like it's got some small stuff, and if it's actually called the Spear of Destiny, that's weird. But it could be. I mean, I don't know what the Spear of Destiny has to do with time travel and stuff, but
Oh yeah, that's an interesting thing. Hitler used the Spear of Destiny to oh, holy, did you lose a bet? What? This isn't a shirt. It's a blanket. It's a Star Wars blanket because I'm cold.
He's
He
old.
turned the. My shirt is this. My shirt is the Star Wars comic book shirt.
What's up, Duff Man? So anyway, before Rick distracted us with a not Indiana Jones trailer.
Yeah. It's a Thursday, and we're going to talk about Wednesday before Friday.
We're talking about Wednesday. So the new no. It's a 1 minute long thing, 1 minute and 10 seconds. That's not even a teaser trailer.
Yeah, we didn't see a trailer, Left Coast. We only saw a making of by Harrison Ford.
Well, they're having a Disney's doing some show, some presentation show today and tomorrow.
Oh.
So, I do not know what they're up to, but hopefully there's a full Mando 3 trailer released, or at least show us what at
show what everyone else got to already see.
Yeah. But so we're actually here to talk about the new Addams Family show Wednesday on Netflix.
Yeah.
And both me and John are big Addams Family fans. I've watched everything ever done for the Addams Family, whether it was the original show, which I love. I rewatch it every year, 3 days before Halloween. I watch like 15, 20 episodes a day.
Wow.
So I can redo it. I own all the there was a show called The Addams Family, which was basically the original show with a new cast. So all they did was take a whole bunch of those episodes and reshoot them. Weird. Oh, see that? I do want to see that.
Yeah, I saw that one dropped. Yeah,
I'll go watch those after.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's a real trailer, and I can't get to it anyway.
But yeah, and then the animated ones, right? There was there two?
There was a show in the 60s or the 70s where Jodie Foster was the voice of Pugsley, and they got a couple cast members come back. Ted Cassidy came back as Lurch, and oh no, I forgot his name. He came back to play Fester. And then they did a couple episodes of the Scooby-Doo Mysteries. And then after the 91 movie came out, they did a new show based on that thing. And that's the one that we got action figures from Playmates. At least the first few. We never got the car and the mansion were things that were supposed to come later, but they canceled the line before they even finished the original set of figures.
Wow.
And then a new show came out called The New Addams Family, which was produced in Canada.
Yeah.
And basically just redid everything. And then, the sequel, Addams Family Reunion.
That's right, yeah.
Which was not good at all. No. Tim Curry was Gomez and Daryl Hannah was Morticia. And they did okay, but it tried to be real cheesy. It was not like the Addams Family.
Yeah.
But then they
mixed it up with the Munsters.
Yeah, kind of.
The writer forgot which one they were doing.
Yeah. Well, and that was back when they were doing the Munsters Today or something like that show too, which was okay, but not great as well. And then, of course, came the Broadway show starring uh, Phoebe, what's her name from Frasier, and Nathan Lane,
Yeah.
which was really good. I didn't get to see them, but I have seen a couple different sets of people when, on the touring show
Huh.
play it. And there's been what, two animated movies now.
Yeah, they're sort of like CGI animated, right? Yeah.
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 And there was word that they were actually going to do a completely claymation. That this
Oh
movie, this
wow.
thing was going to be claymation, and then they completely changed their minds. And now we have glorious 8 episodes of Wednesday.
Yeah. I
Direct.
like the I didn't notice till like 2 or 3 episodes in that it was Tim Burton doing it, and then suddenly it was like, oh yeah, it makes sense. And I said, and I bet that Elfman's doing the music because it sounds like him. And I looked the next episode. I looked and it was Danny Elfman. Yep. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, now this is like
that's actually one of my points I
lots of
did.
little things were clicking. Lots of little
Oh
things
yeah,
were clicking once I found out that. Once I realized that. Yeah.
and that Christina Ricci was in it, not just
Yeah.
because she was Wednesday, but because Burton loves having her in stuff,
Yeah.
and how
Now she was playing the redhead Thornton girl, right?
yes,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
she was actually playing Marion Thornhill, the
Yeah. Thornhill. That's it. Yeah.
herbology.
Yeah. The herbology teacher. Yes. Yes.
So, hey, Kat, how you doing?
Hey, Kat. And there's spoilers on this show, right?
There
We're
are
free to
spoilers.
talk anything. Okay.
We
Yeah.
are free to talk
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
because with the shows being dropped like Netflix does, you almost can't you can't binge, you can't not binge them.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it still took me 3 days to watch the whole thing, but yeah, I agree.
I
My
watched,
mom binged it. She started
yeah,
in the morning on Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. We went out. My brother and I went out to the comic stores, and Mom started watching Wednesday. And then when I got back in the afternoon, she's still watching Wednesday. And I left and came home, and I called her up later on, and she was like, I just got done watching Wednesday. I go, you binged the whole thing in one day. And she's like, yeah, I couldn't stop. It was so good. So my mom
I
loved it
watched the first 3 episodes the night it came out, and then I watched the other 5
the next
like the
day.
next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And that's how those kind of shows are for me.
Yeah.
I'll watch them all. That's why I haven't started Stranger Things season 4 yet,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
know I need to do it on when I have 2 days off so that I can
Yeah.
just sit and watch it until like midnight, and then either not sleep or be afraid to sleep. But yeah, and it will be lots of spoilers. We're going to give our good bits and our bad bits. Overall, I really enjoyed the series.
Me
I
too.
would definitely give it about an 8 out of 10 overall. There were some choices that I didn't like, but overall, I really really liked the show. I liked the aesthetic. I liked the music. I liked the actors.
Yeah. What I really enjoyed was just like, to me, for me, it's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched some Addams Family stuff. And to me, from what I remember when I was younger, like, I mean, yes, a lot of people want to compare Addams Family and Munsters. They think they're almost the same show.
Hmm.
But to me, I was always like, no, the Addams Family was more serious, and the Munsters was cheesy and funny. You know what I mean? It was two different. There were two different genres of shows within the monster realm, in my opinion. You
Yeah,
know?
because the Adams family, they never thought they were the weird ones.
Yeah, yeah,
To them, everything was, they were questioning what the rest of the world's problem with stuff was. Like
yeah,
when the Russians showed up, and the mailman is constantly scared of thing, and it's great. And then with the Munsters, they were just kind of a blue collar family
yeah.
going through things, and just never let the outside world get to them, which is great.
But I liked how this show was a lot more serious rather than having a lot of humor in it, because I thought that Wednesday was great, and I guess you could say like the characters within the show weren't purposefully being funny. They took everything serious.
Mm-hmm.
But to a certain group of people, I think that like my mom thought Wednesday was hilarious because
I did.
she would say something that was so like morbid and deadpan that you're just like, what the, you know what I mean? You would laugh because
Well,
it's
there's
so
the opening
it's
scene where
so
she meets.
opposite of what you should do in regular society. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, when she meets her roommate Ingrid, she's like, "Yes, she's been smothering me with concern or whatever, and I hope to
yeah,
return the favor in her sleep."
in her sleep. Yes, yes, yeah. It was stuff like that. That was funny, you know. And I also liked how, yeah, Wednesday grows as a character by the end, but there's not a lot of growth until really the end, the last episode. You know, really the end itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's when her eyes get open to the fact that her friends are really her friends and they are going
Mm-hmm.
to help her out, and it's beneficial for her to have friends. Because
Yeah.
Wednesday was pretty much talking the whole show about how you don't necessarily need other people to rely on in your life. You don't need other people, and by the end, she comes to realize that her friends at this new school
Mm-hmm.
are going to be a valuable asset in her life. In a sense.
Yeah, because it was definitely one of those things where she learns that because she's probably been taunted or whatever at all her other schools, like we saw at the beginning in the first
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
and
But still, that was great. How many times have you wanted to throw piranhas to attack the jocks? That you know what I mean? Like,
but she killed the piranhas. You can't put piranhas in a chlorine
I
pool
know
like
without a
that.
chlorine
I mean,
pool, they're
oh,
all gonna,
come on.
yeah, yeah. But
Well, a question I had, which was odd, that I had right away was, why didn't Pugsley go to the school?
I know, right? Yeah.
And
And is he
like
going to
over,
school? Or
huh?
is he going to school? And what school is he going to?
He goes to that normal school. The kids were picking on him. That's why she got
Oh,
kicked
that's
out.
right. Yeah, because yeah, that's right. The kids were
Yeah.
picking on
So why
him,
didn't they
and
just
then
send him there? Is maybe he's not old enough yet
I
to
don't
go
know.
to
Yeah,
that boarding school.
yeah,
But a problem I have with the Addams Family since, I don't know, I'd say since the first movie really, was they treat Wednesday like she's the star of the show. And Pugsley is left behind. He doesn't get
yeah,
any good lines. They
yeah,
ignore him completely, basically.
yeah,
He can come off as stupid, really.
yeah, yeah,
And Pugsley was a genius. Of course, in the original show, he was the older cast member than Laura Lining, who was like 6 or something like that. So he was their roles were switched. But in the movies and in the uh, this series, he's treated like he's a moron.
yeah.
Like
But he is supposed to be really super smart, like a gene, like the brain, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
He invented a rocket to the moon. He invented a
Of course,
gun, disintegrator gun, and
didn't he do that in this show though? He did invent one thing, didn't he?
not in this show. In this show, he
What am
came
I
and did
thinking
nothing.
of?
Got locked into
Oh, it must have been must have been another thing I was watching with the Addams Family that.
in the cartoons, they're a little more even. But and I get that they needed him to be trod upon in order for Wednesday in this show to come rescue him. But basically, then they just left him at that school with nobody to protect him.
Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. It was the kid, the beekeeper kid who built that little thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was the little
Who could
genius
have
guy.
obviously been switched out for Pugsley. Let's say
Yes,
Pugsley gets there
yeah,
and he finds out that's his calling.
yeah.
That
He
beekeeper
was
kid
the little
reminded me
genius kid. Yeah, he was a
of
little
a
smart.
podcast from the new Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I will have to say that you can tell a drastic difference in the show from the 4 episodes Tim Burton directed and the 4 episodes that the guys from Smallville directed. Because as the show goes along, it's this kind of cool mystery. There's stuff going on, and then it suddenly changes into a CW show where there's a love triangle, and everybody goes to a dance. And
Yeah.
like, what the heck is this?
But then it gets back on track. I mean, come on.
Well, when does this get? It never gets back on track. Then suddenly people who are enemies are now suddenly friends, and it's like, wait a minute, this is very CW. This is also shows you exactly in those first 4 episodes what Harry Potter would have looked like if Tim Burton had directed it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And this don't let this fool you. I love this show, but it is Harry Potter with Wednesday in it.
Yeah.
It's got the Nevermore Academy is Hogwarts. There's 4 different types of kids who go there. So you have the 4 houses.
Yeah.
There's a Yule Ball.
Yeah.
It's
called the Raven instead of
and which it was great. There's a curious monster trying to track them down, and love triangles here and there and everywhere.
You know what I thought was interesting about the show though was, I think it was episode 3. I went, oh, she's gonna be the monster because she's supposed to be normal. That's the twist. That's how you write these things.
I knew she was the villain from episode 2, but I knew who the monster was because the animation on the face of the monster.
Well, that's what I thought, because of the way Christina's eyes were. I thought that she was actually the monster, but then, like, this is what I liked. They threw me for a loop, like partway through, where I was like, no, wait a minute. It's got to be that kid, because so then what is she doing? Because if she's also the bad guy, you know what I mean? I was like, she can't all be good because she's the normal one, So, I mean, it was like, it had me guessing between 2 people, when in reality it ended up being both of them, because one was the puppet master and one was the monster.
No, I didn't see that bit coming because I didn't.
That's what I mean. I didn't realize.
But I knew right away that Tyler was the villain and not Xavier, because he was such a giant red herring. It might have all been an episode of Pup Named Scooby-Doo with red herring.
Yeah.
But I knew right away that Christina Ricci was going to be the villain.
Yeah.
2 reasons. One, she's Christina Ricci and she was Wednesday, so you make her the villain in this new thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. Secondly, she's the biggest star in the show, and by the rules of Murder, She Wrote, she's the villain.
Yeah, there you go. The rules of Murder, She Wrote. There you
go. Every episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
The guest star.
Yeah. Oh, you're the villain. Yeah.
That's the villain. But yeah, I could see that. The Jenna Ortega, who does play her, is just great.
I thought she did a really good job. Yeah.
I
thought everybody did. I mean, I liked. I mean, when I first saw Gomez, I was like, "Does this make sense?" He's not like he was in the show, but then I was like,
"But he's exactly like he was in the comic."
This makes
this cartoon.
Yeah. I was like, "This makes it really
When
good."
the first trailers came out, people were like, "Ooh, Luis Guzman, he's ugly." Blah blah blah. No. That's the point. Gomez was never supposed to be this dashing, handsome hero that, say, Raul Julia or John Astin were.
Yeah.
He's this little kind of troll guy.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And that's and I was like, somebody complained about it at work, and I pulled up the original cartoon, not the cartoon, the newspaper strips, and I was meh. They're like, oh wow, yeah.
It was originally one block, right? Like a Far Side, right?
Yeah, it's basically there was like a Far Side, and then sometimes he'd do 2 or so, but generally they were always just onesies.
Yeah.
But I thought Catherine Zeta-Jones did a pretty good job.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the dress was perfect because it went. I mean, it had those curves, and then it went to the floor and spread out. So if she walked right, it looked like she was floating around.
Yeah,
it was great.
But at least she could move.
Yeah.
some of those dresses they put those ladies in, they couldn't even move their knees.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought everybody did a good job.
Yeah, and we got to see uh like what was his name? The actor who played the butler guy, the chauffeur,
Lurch.
Lurch. I looked him up and I was like, holy crap, he doesn't look like they did a good job on him because the actor I didn't think looked that creepy in real life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then we got to see a picture of Cousin It, right? There was a
I wonder if we still are going to get in it in season 2.
that would be
That
cool.
his kid or whatever,
Yeah,
but obviously he's not a cousin of the Addamses anymore. It's hard to tell,
yeah.
but you know,
And then what's his face showed up with the motorcycle and sidecar.
oh, Fester was great.
Fester, yeah, Uncle Fester, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
really did a good job of making Jackie Coogan and Christopher Lloyd kind of merge, but he still put his own take on it.
yeah.
And it was cool to see him, and he was still kooky, and he's still, you know, but the dial of destiny is what Jonathan says.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
right.
saw that
Yes.
said Spear of Destiny wasn't even the real trailer. That was
No,
some made
that's what
up.
I was saying. I was saying it's. I thought it was something that's not. It's not the Spear of Destiny, which the Spear of Destiny would make sense. It's something else. And yeah, Dial of Destiny. That's it. And the Dial of Destiny makes zero sense. There is nothing in history called the Dial of Destiny.
Well, yeah,
Where
it is.
there,
It's a clock. It's the whole point of this movie is there's time travel, and
gotcha.
Hitler is trying to go back, or some people who love Hitler are trying to go back and fix something. And Phoebe, who is playing the sidekick in this movie, and him go back in time to try and stop them. And so it'll be interesting to see how much it goes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, the problem is the Spear of Destiny is a real thing.
Yeah.
That's a real object. The Dial of Destiny is basically going off. What was that? What was that computery thing they found in the ocean?
Oh, the Antikythera
Yeah,
device.
I
Yeah.
think they're kind of taking that as the
Yeah.
launching point for their idea for this, and that's the MacGuffin is this thing, which they were doing before, because actually I think the Spear of Destiny's already been in Indiana Jones' book.
It may have been. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty sure I already own that book.
It was probably a choose your own adventure also.
She's
Indy's daughter.
also Marcus's granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. It's being held by Ethiopians.
Ethiopia. Yeah, it's in
Ethiopia
Ethiopia.
has it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I saw the Spear of Destiny when I went to the Vatican Museum. And the first time we went, every time you go in the museum each day, they have a different path that people can take. So you can't necessarily see the same things 2 times in a row.
that's
And the
cool.
first day they didn't let us see it, but then the second day I asked to see the Spear of Destiny, and the guy was like, "Yeah, you can go in. It's in this other room, and you can look at it." And they had it in a glass cabinet. But it's one of 3 that people in the world claim to be the real Spear of Destiny. So
Yeah.
they don't really know which one is which, but supposedly Hitler owned. This is the one that Hitler owned until one day he lost it, and so he carried it with him throughout the whole invasion of Europe and everything. But then at some point during he gave it to one of his generals to use in one of the battles, and during that battle he lost the spear. And that's what the whole like mythology around it is. When you lose the spear, that's when you lose all the power, and you're going to lose the war that you're fighting. And then of course, once the spear was gone, Hitler lost. So he was unstoppable while he had it, but then once this general lost it, they ended up losing the war. So
Well, there you go.
but there's a couple of famous people throughout history who supposedly carried the spear into battle and were victorious until the day they lost it.
Yeah. still trying to figure out if I can show this because I actually have it pulled up now. But it won't, like I said, it pulls up this stupid gray box that says, allow, don't allow, whatever. And it will never, I don't even have some of these windows open. It says it wants me to show. And it's annoying. Or I would show you guys it.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they've shot 3 different endings for it. And none of them have been testing very well. I don't know why Harrison and them feel the need to kill Indiana Jones off. We already know he lives until 1991.
He can't just get old and go to a old folks home. I mean, come on.
No, he gets old and he lives with his daughter in Chicago. We already know what happens to him.
Yeah,
because the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles is canon because they canonized it in the last movie.
Yeah, you're right. So then why would they kill him off in this one? They're going back in time to rewrite history of their own franchise?
Well,
stupid.
I've heard some rumors about some stuff, and I wish I hadn't, but I got a buddy at my work who really, really loves Indiana Jones and archaeology and stuff, and he heard some things, and it just depressed the hell out of him. But
well, maybe it won't happen that way. We'll see.
I hope so. Yeah, I'd heard 4, but 6 makes as much sense. I mean, and they can still test for another month or so and shoot a completely new ending because the movie doesn't even come out till May or June or something like that.
But back on Wednesday, so so I really liked her friend that she moved in with in the dorm room, and they split I thought it was really great that one half she ended up peeling off all the rainbow on one half of the spider web window. So one half was rainbow. The whole apartment was like rainbow color on one side and just black and white on the other side. It was great.
I like Enid. I thought she was a great character.
Yeah, and I loved her. Her nails were all different colors, and when she flicked them out, they were, it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a good kind of idea. I mean, she's obviously Luna Lovegood from Potter.
Yeah, exactly. She was Luna Lovegood.
This is really just Potter in a different form.
Yeah,
I like that. Not all werewolves can wolf out right away. That it takes time and some training sometimes, and I did like that. When they do wolf out, they don't necessarily have control of their own emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
and she had a couple of different modes. Like I think when she first jumped in, it looked like she was pretty much a dog, but then she became like her legs and arms got longer, and she sort of stood up, and it was like more of a monster werewolf kind of thing rather than just being a wolf. So I kind of thought that was neat. That
jumped in mid transformation.
Is that what you think it was?
I think so. Because you're right. When I watched it, I was like, well, her legs are longer than they were a minute ago.
Yeah.
And they do lose all their clothes. Conveniently,
she
wearing a large jacket before that. So
they wrapped her up in the jacket. Otherwise, she would have been naked. Yeah. Naked.
But she was great. I mean, I even liked the guys in the love triangle, Xavier and Taylor.
Yeah.
They red herringed Xavier so hard.
And I loved her boyfriend, the Medusa kid with the.
Yeah.
He always wore a cap.
Yeah.
And then later in the show, you find out why he's wearing a cap because he's got snakes in his head.
Well, I don't remember in any Gorgon mythology that they could stone themselves.
Yeah, I don't either, but that was funny.
Maybe it was just we don't know the real mythology.
But
I did think that was pretty funny. Although it would have been interesting to see what his roommate had to say when he came back in and he's just stoned in the shower. And what do you do with him? Just leave him there? And
Well, they said in this one that according to the mythology in this is that it wears off after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I guess you just turn the water off and leave him there.
Because they did it. They said it too when they started dating. They were like, aren't you afraid you're going to turn to stone? And she was like, not really, but she goes, plus it only lasts a few hours, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a very convenient way to have them be in a show.
Yeah.
Plus, you didn't have to actually have, there's only one shot of all the snakes.
Yeah.
We are kind of talking about Twilight. It's not as much Twilight as it is Harry Potter, but it's and a little bit of Scooby Doo.
There was more in this. There was more werewolves and sirens than the Vampire Kids didn't do much in this. They stayed out of it. Yeah.
One's a DJ, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just kind of didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
It was weird. I think they were there because they needed to be to complete the house.
The 4 houses. Yeah.
But And,
I thought it was funny how most of the Vampire Kids had long, straight hair and the sunglasses. They all were like that.
They were like the Francis Ford Coppola version of a vampire. And you never know with Tim, that may have just been his way of giving an homage.
Yeah.
Because he helped design most of that stuff. It was clear when you got to Xavier's artist room.
Oh,
that was all done by Tim. You could tell.
Well, I noticed too that like there's little skulls and little things around. And once I realized in the credits that I saw Tim Burton's name, I was like, oh, okay. Because a lot of those little things looked like Jack Skellington heads, like thrown about here and there, and I was like, okay, I can see it now. There's little things, that from Nightmare Before Christmas, and there was even a little couple of like Edward Scissorhands sort of things going on there.
Yeah, and it was and the hide itself was very Beetlejuicean.
Oh yeah, the hide was exactly.
He gave me Mad Marge from Pee Wee Herman vibes.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because every time it turned toward the camera, it was just big eyes and tell Mad Marge sent you. But the design. Apparently it was all shot in Romania. So you got good design. The city was weird, but
the little town, yeah,
because it just ended.
Yeah,
and it's just like
it was surrounded by fields.
Where did the roads go here?
Yeah.
It was every time they did a thing like that, it took me out of the movie the show slightly. I was like, wait a minute, where does that go? I loved the cop, the guy playing the sheriff. He showed his hatred for what Gomez and them did, which seemed to be a weird subplot that really didn't probably need to be in there at all.
No, it didn't really go anywhere in the end,
Yeah. But that was another way to put a little extra, I guess, danger in it for Wednesday. But and as usual, the star of the show steals every scene. Thing.
Yeah.
He was great. I loved him. Some people had some issues with like his hand has clearly cuts and
been stitched together. Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to.
Yeah.
In the original comic, it's actually like it's got fur on it, and they did that in one of the Hanna-Barbera shows. But in the original Addams Family show, it was supposed to have stitching on it, as if it was like a Frankenstein monster's hand. But since Ted Cassidy, who plays Lurch, was Thing for most of the time, unless he was on screen, they didn't want to have to put him in makeup every time to get his hand done.
Gotcha.
And so they just decided, we can't be bothered, and just let it be what it is.
Now, in the original show, most of the time it was like him sort of reaching his hand in and doing the thing, right? And they would
he was always
sort of cut it off, right?
Yeah, it was always under. So he would just kind of come
like
up
this. Because they in this one they actually showed nothing. like it's cut off,
and
like
that's how it's been since the first movie.
Yeah.
And then the animated series from '91, which is based kind of on the movie, he has that block off too. So you never know, how does it breathe? Does it have a brain? How does this work?
In this one, they shock it back to life like it has a heart inside of it.
Well, and that
like,
was,
what?
I mean, I didn't see that coming. And to have Thing die and be stabbed to death like that,
yeah,
I thought was, could have been a very brave thing to do. It would have made me hate the series, but it could have been a very brave thing to do. And then, later, Thing 2 shows up, and it's the left hand.
The other hand.
It's the other hand. But I liked Fester. I liked him being able to pull up electricity like that. I thought he did well. I love that they basically kept his outfit the same, that he is kind of still the black sheep of the family. He's a thief. He's on the run for who knows what. They probably wanted all of it. Hey, Nate, what's up?
Hello, Nathan.
And and having internet like that was cool.
The snap was getting into Dumbledore's office. Remember?
Yeah. I thought that was great when they're going through the riddle. I'm like, that says no, and she's like, I was like, oh yeah, there you go. That's what we want.
Yeah.
I didn't realize my mic was so far away. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Oh, it was fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I loved how she gets down there and they're like, and she's like, the two snaps, and solve the riddle, and the kids were like, "There's a riddle."
There's a riddle?
They're like, "I thought we were just snapping." So someone told them, or told one of them, and then they told the rest. So
yeah, I assume it's much like the portrait codes to get in Potter. You just tell it to the next person so they know they can get in.
Yeah. And Gwendolyn Christie, right?
Yep.
Captain Phasma.
I was very upset about that.
Really? Oh, yeah. The end? Yeah. I was going to say, I thought you meant like you were upset that she was in it.
No,
she was brilliant. I thought she was great. And
I understand how she feels. That she said in things that this is the first time she's ever felt pretty.
Yeah.
In anything she's ever been in. And I can see that.
Yeah.
But, she's also super tall.
Yeah.
Which I kind of hoped that they were going to give her the Harry Potter treatment of she's like part giant or something.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
But when she's standing next to Jenna and to Christina, they're like here, and she's like
she's
here.
Up there. Yeah.
It constantly has to be in a wide shot to get anything in.
Well, did you also notice, like, when she was going down the stairs with, was it her and the sheriff, I think it was, and they were coming down one of the stairways, she had to constantly, like, go like this and look where her feet were going, because those stairs must have been pretty narrow, and
yeah.
And they were trying to do it, and she was in those heels or whatever they made her wear, and it was like, oh my gosh, she's going to fall down the stairs.
Well, and having her be what she was in the show, we won't spoil everything for you.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool idea. Very useful. Another good red herring. This show is full of red herrings.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you turn, and Wednesday falls for them a lot.
Yeah.
But
she played the part brilliantly. I just loved her acting in this. I thought it was perfect. And it made me want, like, I really felt like, in some ways she got a little bit of redemption as an actor, to be like, look, I can do stuff, because there's been a few roles that she just seems to be like, they didn't fit her or something. They didn't give her enough time to be that character.
Are you talking
about
Phasma?
Like Phasma. Yeah. She didn't have enough time to really be that character. But in this,
I mean, you could have shown her with her helmet off or something, just kicking ass with a vibro staff or something.
Yeah.
Training people.
In this,
stood there.
in this she gets her moment in every single episode. And it really works. And yeah, I just felt good about that. I don't know.
Yeah, one I did too, and I thought, the one character thing I didn't like about Wednesday is her lack of mind your own damn business. You don't need to know everything, Wednesday. Things,
yeah, there is, yeah.
And she goes off and she's like, oh, I'm going to do this and that on my own. And it's like, well, I get that was how the story progressed. And by the end, she learns to trust people, that she doesn't trust anybody. But, constantly, Gwendolyn was like, look, you don't need this information. I don't need to tell you this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Snake Moan. There'll always be a soft spot for her. But I didn't. The one thing about Christina I really thought was going to happen, I thought that was a wig.
Oh yeah.
It may have been in real life anyway, but I really was waiting for her to pull that wig off.
Well, it even looked like it in the way they showed her when she was younger in that photograph. I was like, is she blonde in the photograph? And then yeah.
But and then you did the usual thing of somebody 4 generations ago looked exactly like you in every way except they had.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That's how it always works.
Plus, what I thought was funny is that, like, I mean, in that day and age of when the first that girl was alive, wouldn't she have taken the name of the male that she married? Like
yes, if she was, I don't think she married anybody because I don't know what.
But she had to have children at some point to pass on the line.
Well, not necessarily unless she had a brother or sister.
Oh, all right. I see what you're saying.
Just because Goody Addams was there doesn't mean that she was the only Goody Addams.
The only Addams back then. Gotcha. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Well, it's interesting because the Addams name comes from Gomez, not from Morticia.
Yeah, that's true too.
We've always been told that Gomez is Spanish, and that and even in this version of Wednesday is Hispanic-ish,
half Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there is the good thing is there is really no Addams Family canon to go on, because even in the original show it contradicted itself constantly. I would have liked to see Grandma.
Oh yeah.
I liked that they kept Morticia's name as Frump, was her maiden name. There was a lot, and I liked the kids who played them as teenagers. I thought that was well done too. It was just there was overall I really, really enjoyed it. I just thought that the CW-ness of it at the end was kind of cringeworthy here and there. But I like that they gave her and Morticia powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny too that at one point Wednesday kind of makes fun of her own power because, like, whenever she touches something that she gets a vision from, she commonly will go like and like whip her head up, and like her eyes get all crazy, and then she might fall over or something as she has the vision. And she even did that. She's like, she touched something, she went, nope, nothing. Like she's like nothing.
Thing calls her out and is like, touch something, and she's like, what? Touches that fence. Oh, yeah. Really, Thing was so comedically well done.
Yeah.
When he kind of gets mad at her and goes and hangs out with Enid for a little while.
Yeah,
they do their nails together.
They're doing nails together, and I liked how she was like, don't forget, I need that hand cream recipe or something like that when they parted ways.
Yeah, that was awesome. But everybody was saw her differently after Snake Moan. But they've already said that yes, there'll be a season 2.
Cool.
Jenna, who plays Wednesday, is 20. So she's
how old is the actress for real? I don't even know.
20.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Wednesday is supposed to be like 15,
16. Yeah, 15 or
16,
16
15,
in the
16.
show. Because yeah,
So
all the
the
kids were around
show,
that age. There was all the kids were supposed to be around 15 to 16 years old, and
and all of them are around 18 to 20. So none of
yeah.
them will really physically age out of their roles.
Well, it made to me. I was wondering because they, I guess it's the way they did the clothing or something that made them look a little bit younger than what the actors really are. Because to
Well,
me,
not
I was
to
getting
put a
that really young
too small
vibe.
of a point on it, but um, you can tell from interviews and stuff that they kind of wrapped up the girls in the show
Yeah, I would.
so
Yeah,
that you couldn't tell their breasts were as large as they are. Um, like the girl who plays Bianca, name's Joy. Wow, the contacts they put in her, she's strikingly beautiful to start with, but those just sea blue
that's the
eyes or whatever.
siren
Yeah,
girl,
the
right?
siren girl was
Yeah,
like, wow, I hate her a lot,
yeah,
but she's so pretty. You can't not. She was a perfect siren. You can't not
yeah,
stare at her.
yeah, yeah.
I did think the one spot that really lost in the casting was the psychiatrist.
Hmm.
She grew on me as the season went along, but I really thought they should have gotten the girl who played Wednesday's nemesis in the first two movies to
Oh,
come
that'd
back.
be funny. That would be funny.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen, and I love fan service. Sometimes you can take fan service too far, but I like little fan servicey things, like when Wednesday does the dance.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was hilarious. That was
You
great.
notice that she mimicked Little Wednesday's dance from the Addams Family TV show. In one little bit of it, she's doing the same thing that Wednesday was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
There's all these small little things like the snap and things like that that you come back at. I would have liked to have even seen a little more.
Hmm.
Um, but that's that can be season two. Now that
How
they've
was
got
the song? They were like, they're kooky and they're
they're
rookie.
creepy and they're kooky,
Creepy and
mysterious and spooky. They're all
yeah,
together, ooky, the Addams Family.
there you
Their
go.
house is a museum when people come to see them. They really are a scream, the Addams Family. Neat,
Yeah.
sweet, petite. So gather with your shawl on, a broomstick and a claw on. We're gonna take a call on the Addams Family.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go. I knew
but
you'd remember it word for word.
oh, of course. I can't not. I would. I mean, I had some stuff go on today, so I didn't get what I wanted to have done. I wanted to have a whole bunch of my Addams Family
Stuff
collection
out. Yeah.
out here, and I didn't have time. I had to do some stuff for my mom's house.
Hmm.
Um, they're wanting me to do a lot of new work on it in order to sell it for what they think they want. But we'll see what all comes of that. But yeah, so and the sad thing is I know Funko is making some pops for it, but sadly, I think this is not a toyetic show. There's not going to be anything for it. I would love a Nevermore Lego set if I could talk to
Oh man.
an official representative of Lego. And that's the other thing, Nevermore. When they first pull up, that's the house from the Addams Family movies.
Is it really?
The
I
very
thought it
front
looked
of it,
familiar, but I wasn't
the
sure.
the main entrance is the house and then it's got all the turrets and stuff
Yeah.
behind it. But it is the Addams Family house from the movies.
Wow.
And I
I
was like,
knew it
well,
was
that's
familiar,
cool.
but I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Wow. That's cool.
I think we could get that. I know the Living Dead dolls have done a new Wednesday. Um, I really would love to see somebody throw together a, a, a Lego Addams Family, proper Addams Family house.
They've got to they got to put that through the ideas um, website and vote on it. So
Yeah, well, it wouldn't take much because all you'd have to redo is recolor a few of the Potter sets for the
yeah,
connectors,
yeah.
like the clock tower and the hallways. There's a lot of reusable parts there. but I'm sure somebody will do it at some point.
Yeah.
But I loved their car. It was a very
Oh, the
Addams
car
car,
was great. Yeah, yeah.
you know, and it just there was so much I liked about it. And a lot of people are poo-pooing it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I don't care about that small stuff. Like people who complain about bricks and screws
In Star Wars,
in
yeah.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
or the glass somebody's drinking out of. They literally used Tupperware glasses in the first Star Wars movie when
Yeah.
he's drinking
Yeah.
his blue milk.
Yeah.
That's Tupperware. You're not
Yeah.
complaining about that. You know, I don't get that end of the fandom. Now, if they're running around and suddenly they go into a bar or something and there's like a pinball machine, okay, then you're stretching it. But every civilization is going to figure out screws and bricks.
I know. Yeah.
Do you
Like,
not remember?
why aren't they complaining that there's wheels sometimes? I mean, every society develops the wheel at their own pace.
Yeah.
So,
Do you not remember where the base was on Yavin 4? They look like big bricks to me.
yeah, they are. Yeah.
But yes, well, and no, because actually they've done a DNA test and he is not. But Sean still claims him as his father because he's the man who raised him.
Really?
Yes.
So who
He's
is Sean Astin's real
Patty
father?
Duke's. Sean Astin is Patty Duke's son, and for a time she was kind of seeing a couple different guys,
Huh.
And John was one of them. And for the longest time, they really thought John Astin was his kid, and it turns out that he's actually not. But he claims him as because he's the only dad he's ever known his whole life.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Huh.
which is why it was cool to see John Astin in The Frighteners. Anything you can see him in. He was in 2 episodes of Batman 66 as the Riddler. Just because the other guy was sick. And he's if you've ever have you ever gotten to see him as Edgar Allan Poe?
I don't think so.
He had a one-man show where he did Edgar Allan Poe, and he did some readings, and then he would do kind of talking about the life of Poe and stuff, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed that a lot. I don't know, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. I'm
sure
you
have to look it up. Yeah.
But yeah, I would have even liked to, if they could have gotten John Astin to show up in this, it would have been nice. But I don't need that. I don't need that enough. But having Christina Ricci in it was good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed her character.
Well, there's still season 2. There's still room for other, people to come back and play a different role. You know what I mean?
That is true. Yeah. But John's getting up there.
What do you? Speaking of
90, if anything.
Speaking of, what do you hope this show turns into? Like, for me, I enjoyed the mystery aspect. I enjoyed the idea that Wednesday was grabbed onto a mystery, the mystery of this monster, and wanted to solve it. And then when the mystery of her father and her parents' past came up, she wanted to solve that mystery. So I hope that for the future of the show, like say season 2, now that she's acquired this group of friends that she realizes she can count on, I really am a little bit interested in seeing almost like a Scooby-Doo gang.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Because the kids will latch onto another mystery next season, and the kids have to solve this mystery. But they're kind of more working together than this season, where it was sort of developing the group. Where in the next one it could be like the beekeeper kid and the werewolf and the Gorgon, and they're all working together, and the artist kid, they're all working together to solve this mystery or something.
So
yeah.
It really does. I mean, it could actually write itself as a Scooby-Doo, and this movie was Harry Potter and Scooby-Doo, and the next one can be Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure where I want the show to go, because
I would like more of the family to be in it a little bit more often, but I didn't think it didn't really take away from the show that they weren't in it as often as I would like. Because I would like to see more of Lurch, and I would have liked to seen Cousin It, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, it's just but it also didn't take away from the show by not having them in it that often, for
Yeah, and
me
they
anyway.
they came
But,
back for Founders Day and stuff like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
which was cool.
yeah.
But it's I think it's
And we didn't really get to see their house, did we?
no,
Yeah,
they were driving.
yeah, they were driving. Yeah.
What's up?
Hey, Connor.
Yeah, so I don't know if you could. I don't know. It would. You could do something like it's summer break now, and Wednesday. I think it would be too much of a stretch for her character to invite any of them back to her house. Like I could see her inviting Enid back to her house.
Yeah.
But she's not going to
bring
Xavier back
unless something like, they did that in Harry Potter, where one of the movies started where he was at home during the break.
Every book starts as the Dursleys for at least the first 200 or 300 pages.
That's true, yeah.
And then in the movies, they just cut all that out completely.
Yeah, yeah. But what I mean is they could do something where, like, something happens with one of the other kids and Wednesday has to, like...
What if they did a road
there, go there?
Say that Nevermore is joining... They could take the fencing team, which all of them are part of except Enid, and the beekeeper, and they are going to a championship or something.
Yeah.
And then something happens that they get pulled into for wherever that is. Maybe that would work. But I'm going to let Tim be Tim, and I'm sure he already has 100 ideas flowing through his head.
Yeah.
I just wish he'd let the Smallville guys maybe not have so much input into the CW-ness of it. This show really could have run on CW, and it would have done
it definitely would have been. Yeah. I mean, they did Sabrina, right? So
yeah. Well, and some of the Archie world is still upset about that. But
Sabrina, like, I gotta hand it to him. I have thoroughly enjoyed that show, every season of it, and I can't believe that they were allowed to go so dark and deep, demonic and devil, like especially the devil worshipping side, the satanic side of the show. Like, you would think that church groups and moms organizations would be up in arms trying to get that show taken off Netflix.
Not just that, it's the Harvey Comics and the Archie Comics people and stuff are like, that's not the Sabrina character.
Yeah, well, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I love the show.
It was when they merged with Riverdale and everybody was zombies or evil or whatever, was when they took it too far for some of those people.
Yeah.
Jonathan's got a good idea. Maybe in season 2, that's Pugsley's first year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And where would Pugsley fit in? Because he's not a werewolf. He's not a siren. He's just,
Yeah, he's pretty much normal. He's pretty much normal as far as that's concerned. Just really smart,
Yeah.
He's Elon Musk.
That's his thing. He gets in with the beekeeper boy or something, and they try to take over the world.
Beekeeper boys. Well, his power ended up he could control the bees, right? He could talk to them or whatever, right? Yeah, that's right. So I was gonna say he seemed pretty like he didn't have a power, but then they showed it at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole show, I'm like, what is this kid? He's not in any group, and maybe that's just how it is. Sometimes they have outliers.
Well, he did say he always felt like an outcast, even at this school.
Yeah, because he doesn't have his own group.
He didn't fit into any of the groups, and
well, he needs another. Maybe Pugsley's thing will be herbology.
Yeah.
And him and B-Boy can get together and do stuff. Hey, Tim. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Hey, Tim.
The Worst Witch was good. I prefer Potter. It has a deeper pull. I really wish that when they redid The Worst Witch, they would have done it better. But what can you go? Pretty much anytime you're going to do any type of school, it's always going to be compared to Potter from now on, or the
Oh,
word
definitely.
witch,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything like that, where you've been sent to a boarding school of any kind. But when you can't get away from it, you know, it's like we've already been doing. You drive up and you go to Dumbledore's office and you know
Yeah.
you go to her office and there's a herbology class where
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
at,
They even
and
had the same. I mean, think about it. Wasn't the teacher the same looking? She had the big glasses in
yeah,
Harry
she's kind of
Potter's herbology.
dumpyish, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and you had to get passes to go into town, so
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
go to Hogsmeade, and trouble's always a brewing in Hogsmeade, and yeah, so it's weird. Yes, there was a very big
Yeah.
goosebumpy
Yeah.
feel to it,
Goosebumps. Yeah.
but anymore you can't. Me and a buddy at work were talking. He's like, it had a lot of tropes, and I said, you can't get away from tropes.
Not anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
it's all.
tropes are
Yeah.
everywhere. You couldn't
Yeah.
possibly have made this show without it being compared to Potter to start with, um, just because of
And
how it was structured.
I also thought that, speaking of the structure and the way they did stuff, I thought it was very clever too that
Hey, bud.
they, like early on, they established that she was a good at fencing and could almost beat the best girl in the school. You know what I mean? They were somewhat equal, really. Um,
Well, like she said, whose mother gives their daughter a sword at 4?
yeah, and that really plays out in the final episode when she goes up against the resurrected bad guy of the whole thing, and they have this sort of staff versus sword battle, and it was like, I just thought it was really cool that, like, you know
My comic book store has one of those, Rick. It's a very cool looking figure.
it's a Kenner style Darth Maul. Oh
No,
wow.
it did not. So they're dropping Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Indiana Jones 5. Wow.
Yeah, this whole weekend is going to be like full of
Stuff.
trailers and other stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll all have something to look at when we get off.
Yeah.
I'll watch that indie trailer first. I don't want to. I don't actually hate Indiana Jones 4. I don't like the character of Mutt because it breaks continuity.
Yeah.
But, and the reliance that they did too much on CG-ish instead of matte paintings and stuff. I understand that was a need. It's just how the world works now. But I have concerns about, they had to stop for 4 weeks because when he broke his foot or whatever, and then COVID, and so and so many reshoots and different cuts, and I'm concerned about this movie. I don't want this to be the last Indiana Jones movie and be like, oh.
Well, the thing that I question is the whole time travel bit, because, like, it seemed like the first Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, was it. I mean, yes, that was a supernatural ending when they opened the Ark and people's faces melted off. Okay, like, yeah, that's never going to happen in real life. That's a supernatural ending, but the rest of the show was sort of based in reality, and the second and third one were also sort of based in reality. Yeah, there was a little bit of supernatural bit where the guy can reach in and pull your heart out and still beating.
The stones literally brought back the water and the everything.
I guess, yeah, but
there was literally the Holy Grail that gave life back and kept people alive.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't so far as, like, an entire alien civilization had visited Earth and their spaceship was hidden underground and the whole thing was going after these alien skeletons.
That's how it is.
Like, I don't, that just to me was like a little too far.
But that was the 1960s. That's the late 50s, early 60s. It was a sci-fi film. just like the first three films were all set in the 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
and they are serials. They're adventure serials. The fourth is basically Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah.
that's it took all that from
But
that. It took the
it just
real
seemed a little
those
bit
real
like
souls
it
may
just
or may
seemed a
not be
little
filled with
too
vodka, depending on if you're Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it just seemed a little bit too far for Indiana Jones. So I'm worried that this time travel one will be even more too far outside the realm of
Well, just wait because I know things.
Indiana and archaeology. You know what I mean? So
In the books, which were sort of loose canon until Young Indiana Jones Chronicles came out, he'd already met aliens. There's an Indiana Jones book that talks about talks around the Roswell incident.
Roswell, yeah.
And then, of course, in Indiana Jones 4, he says,
does mention
stuff at Roswell.
Yeah, that stuff I had to. Yeah.
Yeah, so he may or may not already know aliens.
Yeah.
And ancient alien theory is a pretty big thing. I mean, god damn, how many seasons of that show is there?
Oh, there's like 20. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I liked the show the first two seasons because it basically took Chariots of the Gods,
yeah,
expanded it out,
upon it. Yeah.
and it's like that was great. And then season 18 starts, and you're like, okay, what? No, no, stop.
I used to have the first 10 seasons on DVD. I was very much into that show. Yeah.
I mean, I liked that show. I liked the pseudoscience shows are interesting because sometimes pseudoscience is right.
Yeah.
You know,
well, there is a lot of questions. If you go back and look at archaeology, it's like there's no doubt that certain places around the world were built by someone who does not have the technology. We don't have the technology today to build what they built. Like if you look at those bricks that are, you ever see the ones that are in weird angles? They're like, and they fit together like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And those bricks, each of those bricks are like 20 tons. You know, and then above it is the small mud bricks that our ancestors built. You know what I mean?
Don't worry, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not hip.
So there's definitely two different builders on a lot of these archaeological sites. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Skinwalker Ranch. That's such a joke.
I watched like 3 episodes of that. And I'm like, what is?
Yeah,
this?
it's so bad. Yeah.
Ancient astronaut theorists agree. Every sentence that starts like that, I love to no end because you know that narrator has to be like, here it comes.
Yeah.
Ancient astronaut.
I really think it's funny because like Ken Burns, that's the guy. He started out doing real like history documentaries, doing the narration for him, and then for biblical and archaeological documentaries, and then somehow they talked him into doing these ancient alien ones and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, and he was a really well respected narrator when he was doing all the real history stuff, and then he got into doing this, and people, because I remember one of my very religious friends in Seattle was always like, yeah, you know, these documentaries that Ken Burns narrates is like top notch. That guy, he's really gets involved in great stuff. And then I was like, hey, Eric, look at this new show, Ancient Aliens. Ken Burns is doing and he was like, what? Like, how can this be? You know, like
early on in when I first was watching stuff and I'd see his name pop up, I was like, wait, of the Civil War documentary?
Did he do those too? Yeah.
There's a completely different Ken Burns.
Oh, okay.
Those.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it was like, wait a minute, that can't be right.
There could be 2 Ken Burns. I didn't know that. Okay.
There's several.
All right.
But
maybe all narrators use the same name, and it's a big joke in the industry.
Hey.
Oh, there! Look at that.
Okay, are we ready?
All right, let's watch it.
All right, let's
get Rick's thing off the screen. How do we get Rick's
monetized?
Thing off the screen?
But I don't care.
How do we get Rick's name off the screen so we can watch this?
I miss the desert. I miss the sea. every morning, wondering what wonderful adventure the new day will bring to us. Those days have come and gone. Perhaps not. I don't believe in magic. But a few times in my life, I've seen things I can't explain. And I've come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Who is this man? I'm her godfather.
Get back!
June, huh? Okay.
Okay, I'll be in my bunk. That
I think
That-
it looks good. Yeah, that makes it look
there
good.
were some confirmations of some things I had been told.
Yeah.
ILM has made it clear that this is the best de-aging they've ever done. So it'll be interesting to see. I know G-Force overhead projectors. It took me out of the movie. I just can't believe it.
Is it Harrison that's going in to get his digital self done now?
I don't know.
Because I know Shatner did it, but then I saw there was a couple of their actors who are going in to do it, where they're gonna put a clause in their death thing when their will, or I don't know what you do, like when they die, that says that the estate has the right to use his likeness in future movies after his death, and
But they're doing that so they can protect their own rights.
they're
But
recording.
they still have to pay for it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the studio's going to have to pay for it. Yeah, but
Like
they're
when
recording.
they wanted to do Tarkin, they had to go to Peter Cushing's family and negotiate a contract as if he was really going to be in the role.
Yeah, but what I mean is they're Shatner's been recording thousands of lines of dialogue, and they've been videotaping his face while he talks and inputs all this data and recreating a computer version of him that'll actually respond if you ask questions. It'll respond in Shatnerisms in a sense, But I heard there's a couple actors, and I thought Harrison Ford was one of them, that are going in and doing this process where they want to record their face, their structure, get detailed scans, and then they can de-age that, and they can recreate him as an actor at any age. And then when he passes away, there's specific clauses and rights onto how his acting can be used in a digital form in the future,
Yeah,
and he's recording dialogue and all this other stuff so they can get the mannerisms right and the dialogue and the way he talks right.
When they did Peter Cushing, they had went through all the old Hammer films.
They had to go through all the films. Yeah,
they took computer images so that they would get every time he moved his head.
Yeah.
They were kind of getting a completely new scan. But they said if you can get, if Harrison would sit down right now and do it, they could use what he looks like now, move it to a Breakfast at Tiffany's age.
Exactly.
They could de-age him to that.
Yeah.
Easier.
And recording all of the dialogue. Like if they're recording dialogue of some of these actors just speaking in so that they get their inflections or whatever. What do you call it? Like when the way people talk,
their tone, their cadence.
And they can, and then James Earl Jones has done it a little bit because that, what was it in was it Kenobi where they said
first person, as far as I know, he's the first person just completely signed up for this.
Yeah, because in Kenobi it was James Earl Jones, but it wasn't actually him saying the lines. It was a computer program that took his inflections in the way he speaks and made up new dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't actually him saying the lines, but it still was James Earl Jones' voice, but it was done
Yeah.
by a computer, I thought, right? Or something like that. So that's kind of what I mean. They're gonna this stuff is gonna be more and more in our future, like
Yeah. Well, George Lucas said when he was making episode 1, he said that the digital technology is moving faster than even he thought, and he said someday he won't need actors.
yeah.
He'll need somebody to come in and they'll scan them, they'll take some voice prompts from them, but they should be able to actually create a completely new movie, say of John Wayne,
Yeah.
and not need to do anything but pay the estate.
Well, the interesting thing too was I thought at first I was thinking like, well, if they got all these digital scans of all these actors and they recreate them in a computer, the only thing you would need is a voice actor to voice that part. You wouldn't need them actually on set. It would all be the movies would be completely CG, and then you'd have just voice actors doing that part, much like you would when you put together a video game,
Mm-hmm.
But now with the way they did James Earl Jones's voice in the computer and how they're recording William Shatner and I think Harrison Ford and a few other actors, now they can computer generate the voices as well. So now you don't need the voice actors either. You literally could probably in the future
I
make a
think
whole
for the
movie
moment you
without
would still definitely need them for certain phrases that didn't come out right.
maybe, yeah, okay.
Like there's a couple guys who do really good Harrison Ford impersonations, and a third
Yeah.
one called Mark Hamill. But that you would have come in and say do some voiceover work,
yeah.
to mat out something and say if you couldn't get Harrison to do it. But really, if you think about it, computer technology has gotten good enough that Harrison can stay up in Wyoming and Montana and just phone in the line,
Yeah.
and they can take it digitally, clean it up, and use it.
Yeah,
He
true.
doesn't even have to come back to do ADR anymore.
Yeah.
But that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. I'm definitely going to go see it. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I saw part 4 like at least 4 or 5 times in the theater.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't even need to see a trailer. I mean, if you say Indiana Jones is coming out, I'm going to go see it. I mean, it's the same with Star Wars. I don't need to see trailers.
Somebody on Instagram that a lot of us follow had pictures of a new Indy figure. Indiana Jones in the James Bond tux.
Oh, really?
From the beginning of Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
So they said that series of figures had almost 60 figures in it.
Wow.
So all we've seen so far is Indiana Jones and Toad. We haven't seen from Raiders. So I love that the third figure in that case might be Indy from there, which means who knows what we could get out of this waves.
Wow.
But
well, what I hope though is that the public starts buying enough of them to justify continuing on, because they tried to do a lot of interesting stuff with Crystal Skull, but for whatever reason, I remember people just were not buying those figures. They left them on the shelves.
They were buying them. They weren't buying any of the Crystal Skull stuff. So when the Raiders of the Lost Ark waves came out and the Temple of Doom wave came out, people bought those like mad. But then all of a sudden the movie came out and every wave was basically that. And by the time that last wave came that ended up being a San Diego exclusive, nobody was buying them, and those were all sitting on the shelves.
Yeah, because I just remember seeing them everywhere, and they got clearanced out for like $1 or $2. And so I thought that we didn't get any of the really cool figures because the line was dying because of Crystal Skull,
Yeah, the line died because of Crystal Skull. I think if they would have, but nobody knew. I mean,
I know, yeah.
Somebody should have known from watching it that people weren't going to react as well as I did to the aliens thing. It was like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. That's just what it is. It's a sci-fi movie now. It's the 50s and the 60s. It's a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what this next one is supposed to be, because since it takes place in the past and the present, or the past and the past, depending on Indy's point of view.
Well, it could be the 80s where we got all those time travel movies like Back to the Future.
Well, no, it's not. He doesn't move forward. He only moves back. So I don't know.
No, but like what? Because what age would Indy be at this point in the real timeline before he goes back in time?
Same
Is
as
this
he is in Harrison Ford.
is this taking place
He was
in?
he was born in 1899. This is 68,
Oh,
67, 68.
so it's the film itself in the present day in that film is taking place. That's what I meant.
The
I said
present
maybe
day
in the present
is
day would be 1980,
no,
which
no.
is
The
why
present
it's
day is
time travel.
1968 or 67
Okay,
because
okay,
the parade you saw was them welcoming back the guys from the moon landing.
oh, okay.
So that's what that
69
parade.
then. 69 then.
But that whole wave had so many cool vehicles and stuff in it, and play sets that we'd wanted forever. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen one of the Black Series figures yet. I would assume they have as much articulation as any other Black figure.
Yeah.
Now, if
Well,
you're talking about the retro line is going to be 5 POA because that's what it is.
With bendable knees, though. They had bendable knees.
They had bendable knees because they had to get on horses.
Yeah. Well, with the 6-inch line, though, they don't need to go that far, I don't think, because personally, I'm only going to get Indiana Jones in the 6-inch line. I'm not buying any
I'm buying
others.
every one of them.
But part of it is
this will be the only thing I collect.
Part of it is because of the price. I just can't afford. I can't afford any 6-inch line, no matter what it is, to buy every single figure.
I will buy the ones I absolutely know I probably won't be able to get later. But look at all the Black Friday sales
I know
this week, and
that'll be the difference. I mean, if I see them going on sale, of course I will buy them all.
Yeah,
but I'm not paying $30 per figure.
And the third brother and all those were like $12.99 and $14.99.
Yeah.
Maybe Hasbro figured out over the weekend that they have hit their magic button for all of us to say, I'm not paying $30
per figure
for a figure that I can't even ever look at.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a window.
But
they're not flashbacks.
But the 3 3/4 inch figures, I'll buy them all. I definitely will.
Yeah. See, yep. Now that the moon landing's in Indiana Jones, we know it's fake.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they said they had 25 coming out, but that they had planned the line through 60.
Wow.
So, but they haven't said anything about. I would love to see a vintage collection line.
That's what.
I don't care about the retro stuff. I know Rick and some of the guys love those. I like the retro line, but to me,
I ordered 2. I ordered 2 of each.
Buying figures I already own.
I only have a few of them loose. I don't own any of them on card, so I was happy to get them
on card.
I was happy to get them on card.
I'm better than you. But and some of them you can still get pretty cheap. You can get totes, good totes for like 200. Totes that have some card damage and stuff you can get for 50 or 60. It's not too bad, but it's such a small line that it's hard to get.
Yeah,
but I'll buy all.
Isn't Miriam the hardest one?
Yeah, Miriam in the dress.
The dress, yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest one to come by usually, or sometimes the Indy is a German guard.
Oh yeah, that was.
But it's. I would love to have stuff. I can't reach them. I buy all those Kenner by King card backs. I have like 40 of them. I would love vintage figures would be nice too, but I'd love a vintage collection line.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I say that because I don't open them anyway.
Well, so the cards make just new figures,
like I would like a tote, and I'd like the Indy, which I've already pre-ordered, a Marion, a Sala, German Mechanic, Belloc, and then moved it Temple of Doom, because we never got retro figures for Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Then do 6 figures from Temple of Doom, then do some from Young Indiana Jones and Last Crusade. I don't necessarily need, and I'm sure they're coming, retro figures for the 5th movie. I don't need that. It's like when, to me,
I'll
it's like
take
when
'em.
Reaction made Flash and Arrow figures,
Yeah.
and it was like those. That's not what it is. You know. Yeah, I don't get that either, because to me it annoys me greatly that they're on the same card back. So when they put out the vintage collection figures, they use the same card back, and then when they put out the vintage series of the exact same figure, they scuff up the package. And
Yeah.
exact same
Picture. It is the same picture. Yeah.
and so those don't look good on my wall. In fact, I don't have any retro collection on my walls at all, because I already
See,
have those figures represented on the wall.
I have them open right above my head here because they're
Yeah, and that's what Rick does too. I love looking when Rick does a little short.
they're in this line because
Yeah.
my Kenner figures originals go these 3 lines in the top 3 shelves,
Yeah.
and then it's like Mandalorian and Boba Fett and the other guys right here from Kenobi, because now those are Kenner figures. So if you were to claim that you have the entire run of Kenner figures and you don't have the ones from Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan Kenobi show, you don't have a full line of Kenner.
But that's
It's
only
just like the vintage collection. It went from like 2008 to 2014 or something, and then it stopped for like 4 or 5 years, and then it came back and
unlike the
continued
retro
on.
collection, the vintage collection continued their numbering.
So what I'm getting at is that if a modern line can stop and take a pause for 4 or 5 years and then start back up, and you consider both lines the same line, one line in itself, then the time frame between stopping and starting again doesn't matter. So
But
if
they're
it took
literally the same collection. The retro collection is not part of the Kenner line because it has giant big stickers on it that say retro collection, and it has buffed up stuff. Now, if they
it
produce
says
those
Kenner on the
figures,
box. It says
Huh?
Kenner on the box.
does it say Kenner on the figures, or does it say Hasbro?
So they're part of it. They're
No,
5
they're not.
POA. They're done. The pistols.
They're not part of that line.
Yeah, they are.
To you, but to the majority of collectors, no, they're not. They're a completely different wave of figures to collect. I'm collecting all of them.
Just like the
I would
droids and
never
Ewoks.
say that they're, the Mandalorian is the same as having telescoping Luke.
Just like, in my opinion, the droids and Ewoks figures are also part of the original Kenner line.
They are,
You gotta have all
as
them
the
as well.
nerd would say, they are Kenner adjacent.
Kenner adjacent, yeah.
Because I think that too, but they are their own thing. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not the movies. And why don't we have? If we're going to have this conversation, why don't we have Phantom Menace ones yet?
I know, that kills me.
Go back.
Yeah.
Stop doing waves.
I know.
Junk like the Mandalorian or Obi-Wan. Those figures are peg warming like mad. I will never buy another retro figure at full price ever, because I can get them for $3 right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
because
yeah.
the kids look at them and they're like, these are junk, and we look at them and then we're like, well, those are kind of cool, but they're also very expensive. When they were $10 a piece, that wasn't too bad, but now those retro ones are $12.99, and vintage collections are $14 or $16.
Oh, there's a vintage collection of Boba Fett that's $20.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid.
What the hell is that?
I put him back. I walked up to the register and I was like, I was going to buy that Boba Fett, and they rang up $20.99. I was like, no, put it back. No way am I paying that,
Exactly. Don't go to the dark side. Only a completist feels all the retro figures all say Kenner.
Yeah, they're Kenner. Yeah.
Well, not on the package. I mean on the figure. The figure usually definitely has it doesn't say Hasbro.
Let me grab one. I haven't literally looked.
They didn't actually have copyright to the name Kenner anymore. Ugh. Who can afford it? You're right there, Jonathan. It's hard. Rick, that is how my collection generally works, is collect them all.
I can't see shit these days. So
Yeah, Rick. They're the only figures we've gotten. We're still 2 waves behind in vintage collection figures. All we've gotten recently is Obi-Wan and retro line, and those retros just hang. They're right there next to Lando.
I freaking can't read this thing. I got to take a picture. I think.
I know I have to do. I do have to blow it up. We're old.
Yeah.
What do you want? Hey, Gap. How you doing? Yeah, JTC. I bought them as soon as I saw them because around here we just don't get Star Wars stuff a lot. You know, we're still a couple waves behind in Black Series. We're a couple waves behind in Vintage Collection, which is weird because you would have thought it. What's it say? Because that's glaring.
Hasbro.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
It says
See, 'cause
Hasbro.
I didn't think they could because I thought they'd lost the copyright name to Kenner, which is why they can't sue all these people that are using it.
Yeah, it says Hasbro on the bottom.
Soon there'll be a book with all of that. But, ow. And, you know, I would like them to be more prepared. Anymore, I think the Last Jedi hurt them a lot as far as having stuff ready to roll out when a show starts. Like, why are we trickling Andor product in?
Well, they're worried that they'll do another because like they made, you know, hundreds of thousands of product for Phantom Menace, or I mean for
Force Awakens.
Sorry, for Force Awakens, and everyone ate it up. And then they did the same thing for Last Jedi. I mean, we went in September and bought like all the stuff, you know, and then the movie came out and half the people hated it and no one bought toys after the movie. So Hasbro saw that they were just like sitting on everything. So they got scared, and that's why Rise of Skywalker didn't even have basically a Force Friday or anything, and didn't even.
Hasbro was like, because they got burned.
Yeah,
they made figures and stuff of people who ended up being cut from the movie.
They got scared to death, and I think they've been scared ever since. The problem is, I think they've been scared ever since, and that's why we don't get product until after the things air, because they want to make sure they're received good.
See, I'll keep looking, but I haven't seen any of those, and I'm a sucker. I will buy those because I like the cards.
I'm getting Wicket. I'm getting Wicket, but that's the only one I wanted to get because I don't have him yet. There are others I have, so I don't need to get them again.
Well, I have most of them. All these, 6-inch 40th anniversary ones I've generally had. Now that I don't want them to do a third wave.
I didn't get all the second wave of the Star Wars ones. I didn't end up. I never saw half the Empire Strikes Back ones, so I just said, well, there's no way I could ever get all these because they don't show up, and so I gave up. So I said, I don't need them if it's the same figure I already got. Then I'm just if I already don't have the full set, there's no reason to me to keep going.
Well, in the Black series, I didn't have some of that early stuff from like the 40th Star Wars. I did have most of it for Empire, and Return I've bought, I think, most of those. But that's when I stopped buying Black series, is when I couldn't get some of those. And then they started putting out junk. And so I'll buy all those because someday they'll go in a case or something.
Yeah.
And they'll look. But, and I don't understand that because Star Wars prints money if you do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we all hate the sequel trilogies, but there are some incredible alien designs and stuff in there.
Yeah.
I would love to see some of those aliens, some of those droids, and as even vintage collection. I don't think they could survive as a Black series figure, but put one. I don't understand why things have to be waves of Andor and waves of Return of the Jedi, and why can't you just make a figure?
Mix it all up. Yeah, mix it all up. Yeah.
And stop listening to all these people. You have to make the first 96 or yeah. Okay, then drop one of the 96s in every wave, but then give me something from, you know, the Last Jedi from the
There
canteen.
can't be there can't be that many left from the original 96 they have to do. We're up at what was the last, wasn't the last vintage figure I picked up like 259 or something?
Well, they're not doing that's not vintage. They do still have to do that. They're still talking about Black Series, that they haven't finished that.
Oh,
It's like,
that's way
well,
off from the
I mean,
96. Yeah. Black
two,
Series is way off from 96. I thought you meant the vintage collection. Yeah.
oh no, vintage collection. They've done most all those figures. But see, they're doing. You have people who complain that okay, well that yeah, there was a vintage collection that and it was number 8. Well, you can do a better sculpt of it now.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. Like they
no,
did with Ahsoka. Yeah.
you know, yeah. Well, like they did with Ahsoka, and some of them I can see. You know, some of those Leia figures didn't look quite right. They have a real hard time with female faces.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they don't have as many edges, but you know, it's. I mean, I want other stuff. I've been buying the exact same Return of the Jedi figures for 40 years now. There has to be somebody else in Jabba's palace that you haven't done a figure of that you could throw into a 6-inch line. Or, God forbid, I'm sure there's Rick. Rick says there's 30 left for TVC.
Really?
That seems like a high number.
Yeah, that seems ridiculous, but okay.
I mean,
I can't believe it because wasn't it like, I think the last one was like 259 that I have, and I was like, so they've almost got 300 figures, and they haven't done the original 96 yet.
New ones.
I also think that like I always think back to the days of the Clone Wars cartoon when it was coming out, because my friends Derek and Daryl and myself, we would constantly go to the stores, and like every couple weeks we would see like a new 5 or 6 Clone War figures from the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
And then like we would watch an episode on TV, and it was like, oh, look at those Senate guards. That whole group there has like these blue, it's like blue Mandalorian armor with like this thing on top, and they got these cool guns, and the leader had this white paint on his helmet and stuff and on his armor. And then like 2 weeks later we go to the store, and there he is, the captain, and then there's a trooper one also, so you can buy him and buy 4 of the troopers to make his squad. And it's like, what the hell? Like, we just saw this hit air like 2 weeks ago, and now they're in stores. And then the one you saw this week would show up. There'd be figures from that 2 weeks later. So I was like, every episode of the Clone Wars had 5 or 6 new figures come with it. And if you think about that, it's like, that means every week to 2 weeks, they were pumping out 6 new figures or 7 new figures. And nowadays it's like, what, we get them every 3 months or something? Like, I don't even know.
Well, if you even bother to get them.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you even bother to get them, yeah.
Our stores don't, like, I do not understand how I have still not seen that wave of
With the
WWE
band member, right?
figures that has the Bigfoot in it.
Oh, that too. Yeah, we've never got that down here. Yeah.
Even if I
that
never
whole
saw
wave.
a Bigfoot,
We never saw the whole wave.
The Rock and
none of them. None of them have been out here. Yeah, none of them.
You know, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they're in a case somewhere waiting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
What number were those, by the way?
The Heavy Assault Stormtrooper is number 253.
Okay.
And the Stormtrooper Commander is 254.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, in the 250s. That's what I thought. The last ones I got were in the 250s. So yeah.
And it's, you know, I just, where is stuff?
Yeah.
And then you look at these people who are showing pallets of things at Ollie's that I never saw in any of my stores.
Right, yeah.
Where are these? Where did they get them? You know, it's crazy. But, you know, I don't know. Uh, I just kind of am like, okay, I guess. Let's see.
But yeah, so like back
There
during the
are
days of
actually 254 is the newest. I'm
okay.
looking at the list on Jedi Archives. Yeah,
Plus, I don't like how they don't keep track anymore. Like I remember when, like, after the Power of the Force came out and Hasbro was putting out those beefy looking figures and everything,
yeah,
they eventually got to a point where, including the Kenner figures from the very first one that came out, they said this is the 300th figure. And it came out in a thing, and it was Boba Fett, right? And it came out in a special box. I have it in my Boba Fett display. And then when they hit 500, they were like, here's the 500th figure. And it was Darth Vader in the throne in the little chamber thing,
yeah.
And I got that in my Darth Vader display. And then they stopped. They didn't do like a 1000th figure.
Which they have to be at by now.
And, well, they hit that a long time ago. There's more than 10,000 Star Wars figures. But I think they should have kept going with keeping track of how many they made and done a special commemorative figure every once in a while,
Yeah. So, Jedi Temple Archives, this is generally what I use, and they keep track by number of everything, and then whether or not they're an exclusive or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So down here, these are all of the gaming greats. So 260 is R2 Merrick's droid.
Oh yeah, I got that one. Yeah.
Then there's a KX security droid and a Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
So those are in-pack exclusives to things.
259 is the Tika figure. Okay.
Yep. And then that's where it stops numbering for the moment. And
well,
then,
260 we had up top there.
260 is where it ends.
Yeah.
I would assume the Bib Fortuna is probably 261. It's hard to tell what these are.
Yeah, yeah.
These are just all the ones that have been
upcoming
that they've told us about in the pipeline.
And then they have a repack ones down below there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ahsoka's. I thought I got her already.
Well, they need to pump out another Ahsoka because
the repack. I mean the repack one, number 102. I think I already had. I think she already came in the mail.
I don't think I ordered her again because I already had her before. I try not to buy duplicates because I don't actually care about the face sculpt changes.
No, me either. If I had her from before, I wouldn't. Well, I have her already, but I opened her before, so I don't have a carded one. But now I do. See, when I go to look at figures, I go to JediBusiness.com because Chris B puts up he puts up photographs.
Well, these all have
all the figures. Oh, okay. If you click on them, they have photos?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a link.
Gotcha.
And then you go.
Yeah.
And it pulls up what the figure looks like from every angle.
Yeah.
With or without his cape, what the packaging looks like, without that stupid
sticker on
it.
Yeah.
And then it tells you what wave it comes from, what the source was.
But does he have every figure going all the way back to the beginning of time?
Of course.
Because that's why I like Jedi Business. You can actually look up figures from 2001, from 1998, from 2011. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can see
all right here, whatever wave it is.
Cool. Yeah, those waves like Shadow of the Dark Side, Clone Wars, like some of those waves, like in the year they had 300 figures in 1 year. In a couple of those Clone Wars years, when they were doing, like literally doing figures for every single.
30th anniversary wave is still my favorite. I love the packaging the best on those. But yeah, they have everything going back.
Yeah, they
all
do.
the way back to original stuff for Gentle Giant, and of course the original films all have their own.
Up here, right? Yeah.
No, they have their own. Yeah,
right there with droids and Ewoks and all that. Yeah.
So let's see what is 248. Okay. 247. I love how Vern went off on this because he's right.
It's the wrong picture. Yeah.
Picture of them.
It's the total wrong picture. Yeah.
246. I don't have that one yet. And I love how he went off on the. Why does he have
Cups? 3 cups instead of a
You
freaking
can't make a
staff.
stick. I mean,
Yeah.
how hard is that to make a stick?
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I follow like 4 different people who do these. This is easiest for me because you can.
No, I like it. Yeah, no, it's fun.
Some of them you can export out as a um, Excel document, and then I can check off what I own and what I need, and that kind of thing. Because like the Black Series, he's got that up through. Where are we here? Here's the new holiday editions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can you search by character too? Like, Chris B did a thing where now you can type in Darth Vader and see every single Darth Vader figure that was ever made.
I
know
don't
what I mean?
know if this has that search function yet.
And I like that because you can do it with anything. Ewoks, Luke,
I know
like
you
any.
can click on it. Let me see
Yeah.
what happens because you got Ray. Let's find somebody who has more figures. Let's go.
Well, Ray has a lot. Yeah, but-
Well, yeah, but that was specifically Ray as a dark side, it looked like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you have him.
Go down to Tebow Ewok, like name. Can you click that? No.
No, that's not clickable yet. I know they
See, I just, you know how it says search our database? Like, what if you just type in
there's
Tebow?
nowhere to type.
No, there was a search our database button, like somewhere. I saw it on that last page, you know?
On the main page?
May have been. Yeah, there. See, search our database.
Back.
Search our visual guide database. At the top.
Let's see.
Type in Tebow and just see what comes up. Or Darth Vader. Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, see? So you could basically go through and look at even the ones in multi-packs. You could see like every Darth Vader ever made. That's what I think is pretty cool, because if you're looking up, like if you have one in your hand and you're like, which series did this Vader belong to? You could start going through and comparing it, you know, and it even shows you the packaging, yeah. So
Yeah, because it'll pull up their
Darth Vader Revenge of the Sith.
thing.
Yeah. Because it's on the Darth Vader Revenge of the Sith packaging. Yeah.
I hated this packaging.
Yeah, this was a kooky one. Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah, well, I generally use these guys. There's several.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. I like it.
Because sometimes he's slightly behind, and sometimes the others are slightly behind. So
yeah. Oh well, Chris will be behind because he only does the pictures as if when he has the figure in hand.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's kind
of
like
I know Yak Face.
Every
guys get stuff ahead of time, kind of like
yeah.
And they'll start putting together stuff.
Yeah, because every figure on Chris's Jedi Business website is the figure that he owns. Mm-hmm. Like he actually owns every single figure that's ever come out, and those photos you see on his website are of his personal collection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and he literally does have every single figure that's ever come out, you know, for everything Black Series, Unleashed, like 3.75s, like, and that's what, and they keep going. And some of it, I think, is to keep the website complete and up to date. And it's just kind of like, man, you're in trouble because someday it's just going to cost you so much.
You know, and I tried to catalog for a while, and I get bored with it eventually.
Oh, yeah.
You know. Well, yeah, but those were what they were supposed to be. That's Masters of the Universe figures were supposed to be 3.75. And then they changed it to the Conan look. So now the fact that Super 7 went and did other figures in that style, kind of like there were mock-ups of the Thundercats in the 3.75 style
too. There were.
Then they saw the He-Man as Conan stuff, and so LGN was like, well, we're going to do that kind of look because He-Man is being very popular at the moment. But if you're looking, I don't know how long the sale is. I think it's just today. The new Willow figures are now on Super 7's website, and they're on sale for 15% off for today.
Oh, cool.
So,
I watched the first episode, by the way. I really liked it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
Really
had
good.
not gotten to it yet.
Really, I thought it was really good action. There was callbacks in the music. It was, a lot of, I mean, so many of the same actors are back that it really felt like they were picking up from, whatever period, 15,
When I get that
20
they have
years later,
the
whatever
kids
it is.
have to be in it, and they have to be,
Yeah.
hot kids or whatever. But it's weird that the show is taking place like 15 years, maybe 17 years after the original movie.
Yeah.
It's also weird that Aurora Dannon is the exact same age as the other kids on the show when she was clearly born first.
Yeah, it's true, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Kinda
true.
weird.
Yeah. And the adults aged a lot in those 15 years when the kids were growing up.
You have did they show Willow and Shorsa talking at a table where Willow has a beard? Because they did de-aging on both.
They did it.
Laura
Yeah,
and
yeah,
her.
they did. There's two flashback scenes where they de-aged or did something to Warwick Davis to make him look different in two different scenes. And it's not bad. I didn't think it was that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that, I might get to it tonight.
Because there's all kind, like there's a great battle scene, there's prophecy, there's flashbacks, there's calls out to the future, there's a whole, they hit it all in that first episode, and it really drew me in. I was like, wow, this is cool. There's darkness coming, prophecy, weird looking creature things, and I was like, it's got it all, big battle, and like I was like, oh, this is a great way to start it off and get you hooked into it, because and then the party gets together to go on an adventure, so it's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's exactly what we want in a fantasy
movie,
a fantasy show.
Yeah.
So plus it has a couple people we know from like Solo and stuff like that in it, a couple of the actors.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that too. So, but we can talk about that another day.
Since we spent only an hour talking about Wednesday, the other hour talking about Star Wars toys.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how all live streams.
Especially when you and I are talking, we go off on all kinds of tangents.
Well, poor Dave Dimensions. Last night I was cleaning and I was listening to his thing in the background. He was, toing the thing for the Toys for Tots. And I was like, I popped on and I'm like, okay, I can only stay a few minutes. I've got stuff to do. 2 hours later.
Yeah.
He went on for like, we talked for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's easy to do.
I know.
We were like, we're getting off, kind of like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We got off. We're going to get off. And then like a half hour later, we finally actually shut up. But we will end at the 2 hour mark. So we have a couple minutes left. Yeah. What are you pimping? Got anything going?
Well, I'm still trying to finish up the Transformers one for the affordable figures, and Tez has helped me out with this one. He had to send me some pictures and different things of stuff that I don't own, so that we have good images for the screen when I show these things. And then or some things that like Tez did way better photo, like of Devastator. I don't dare take my Devastator apart anymore. He's in Devastator mode, but he's so fragile. It's the one I had since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's so fragile that the last time I took him apart, one part almost broke. So now I'm scared to take him apart. So Tez is like, I already got photos and all the stuff of his individual pieces and all he goes, so let me just send you those instead of you risking your own. You know what I mean? And so he's helped me out with a number. So basically this one's going to be a collaboration with Tez. But I probably won't. Realistically, I was hoping I'd finish it today, and then it's getting to be tomorrow. But realistically, it won't get finished till Saturday because I just don't have the time to put all the pieces in. And the way, because I've been actually editing these and adding texts and graphics and different things and trying to up the production level of these things. So it takes a lot longer to do.
I'd like to do that kind of stuff too, but I get bored very quickly these days, and I'll start watching a tutorial on how to do it, and I'm like, I'll finish it later.
Right? yeah.
Who's on? Oh, look, Rum's on doing stuff.
Yeah.
Boys are playing golf. Let's go watch this.
And you can see actually I'm getting better at it. Like if you look at the Star Wars one, the text is just kind of flying in, but then by the time you get to Mask, it's all stylized and like moving around. So I'm getting better at it as I go along. So
Star White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I have a toy tour coming out tomorrow.
Oh, what was it? Go ahead.
I got a toy tour coming out of a video I did back in May, and I thought I'd posted, but apparently I never did. It's a vintage toy shop in Kansas.
Oh, cool.
And I thought I'd posted, but I didn't. So I put it up for tomorrow.
Nice.
And I've got 10 videos I'll probably shoot tomorrow.
Wow.
For each of the stores that I got Black Friday stuff on.
Wow. Okay, cool.
So
wow, that'll look good.
There's piles of stuff everywhere. Because once again, I got bored and the internet called.
I got Dr. Mindbender, the special edition one just came in, which I think I saw someone else, a couple videos are starting to pop up, so I got to do that this weekend.
Seems like a lot of people got him and Serpentor around the same time.
Yeah, and Sergeant Slaughter came in the other day, and then I got, I still have the video of when my brother and I went out to those comic stores on Black Friday to put up, and then I got to film and do the Saber stand one. That company sent me 3 different stands, and they didn't ask for a video, but I'd still like to do a video, and because I think everybody'd be interested in seeing 3 different ways of hanging your lightsabers.
Yeah,
and then I'll give my opinion as to which one I think is the best, but and why. But I just haven't got around to doing it because I want to actually show them hanging on the wall as well, you know. Yeah, I like that Mo the Monkey. I was looking at that romper room.
I found him at an antique shop for $15.
I think Romper Room was the one that scared me when I was a kid.
That's because that woman was like, "I can see you."
Yeah. Whoa. One day I'm eating my cereal and watching the show, and she's like, "Oh, I can see John out there, and is he eating breakfast?" And I was like, "She really can see me." You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. What kind of cereal are you eating, John?
So I remember being scared. I was like, "Mom, how does she know?" You know, like.
Oh, and I did a box went out to you today, to GeForce, to Geek Strong, and to Ashley. So I got 4 boxes out today. I have 6 more boxes to go out tomorrow.
I have about 20 sitting here that are going to need that. I'm going to start doing postage this weekend. So hopefully
tomorrow's going to be my bad day because I got two boxes for rum and 2 boxes for Blue Harvest. So those are going to be each at least $80 a piece.
Oh, good Lord. Wow.
And then I got 2 boxes for Brandon going out.
Yeah, I got a box for Brandon. I hope he likes what I got. Brandon.
I miss that kid.
I know.
His coaching and stuff, and that's great, but he promised us a comic book store.
Right? Yeah.
But I'm sure everything's wrapping up for them. Then they'll have most of December off, I'm sure, and then I don't know what he's going to do.
Maybe we can get him back for some of our Wednesday night comic talks. I'm missing those comic talks on Wednesday nights.
I do too. I've been out of comics for so long. Between the two of you, you catch me up on stuff that I haven't read in 15 years.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right, Chris. Thanks for
coming on, John. Thanks for talking about Wednesday. We will get a Munsters thing together.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try and do like an overview of all the shows.
Yeah.
There's 3 shows, 2 movies, plus this new movie. I'm surprised that they've never really tried a Munsters animated series.
Yeah, right. It seems like it would make sense. Plus, the other thing is we could plan some stuff for Willow. Like if you end up watching it, like it, maybe a halfway point. And then an ending, like when it's over.
Did they release episodes 1 and 2 at once?
Yeah, they're out. They're already out. Yeah, 1 and 2 are out.
Somebody said people were doing reviews of 3 and 4 already. It's like, well, maybe they got screeners or something.
I don't know.
So I'll probably watch episodes 1 and 2 tonight,
Yeah.
Do we know how many episodes it is?
I don't know. Someone
Yeah.
knows, but I don't know. I'm
I'll
sure
try
they
and find
said
out.
it.
That way we can do a halfway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm sure they said it, but I just don't know that stuff. I don't pay attention.
Blue's watched it 20 times already.
See, I told you it's good.
It's got FIFA on one side and
Yeah.
Willow running on repeat. How you doing, Blue? By the way, you have 2 boxes that hopefully will go out tomorrow. And John, I'm sorry. There's one item in your box that will lead you down a rabbit hole. And then I ran out of filler material and had to use peanuts.
Oh,
I hate those.
I think there's a couple people that this year I got stuff for them that they are gonna that sends them down rabbit holes as well. So,
and Blue, I've sent you a couple boxes of things that you are one of the few people I know who collect. So, in kind of the reorganization of my collection and stuff going forward, I made a couple, and then I found a whole stack of other things I was going to send him. Like, damn it, this is a 3rd box. Well, I'm not doing a 3rd box yet, but so. Oh, Vern wants to talk about the moon landing again, which obviously was faked. Maybe that can be episode 3 of, what is it? Science.
Didn't that? Oh, it's the mystery and madness of the super awesome science show.
I'm telling you, just get a logo made for it so I can have a shirt of it. If the channel never exists, that's fine.
I got about 10 or 12 ideas, and I actually wrote 3 episodes so far. But I probably won't start filming anything till January, to be quite frank. This month is ended. Things are just getting behind, and I can't catch up on my channel, let alone start another one until after the holidays. So, because what I want to do is I want to have Geek Strong is going to do a character for it. Like, I'm going to be a character on this new show. I got a wig and a coat outfit. And then Geek Strong wants to be a character where he asks questions, and Rum wants to be Rum as a Rum character that asks questions. So it's going to be like a little bit of question and answer in part of each episode. So it's a matter of getting together with everybody to film those parts of question and answer, and then then I have to film my parts filling it out. And there's some drawing on like a chalkboard or drawing on a whiteboard or something, and so there's a lot involved in putting together even just one episode. So it might end up being a channel where I do one episode a month or something, you know what I mean? Because they're going to be so involved and so much work put into each one that I don't think I can do it on even a weekly basis, especially if other people are involved,
I as a branch off of that, and I don't care if we do it on your channel or my channel, I would like to do some sort of overview of like 2 or 3 episodes at a time of the entire In Search Of series.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or at least the first, season or 2, and see if anybody cares or watches.
Yeah, with Leonard Nimoy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the first episode, it takes place in Denver at the Denver Botanical Gardens. And the first episode is all about can plants feel and can plants feel. And
does he talk about the plant that convicted a guy of like murder or something like that?
No,
they tried to use it in court.
This would have been in 76.
Wow.
So long before plants could murder people.
No. I think the plant recognized the murderer, and they convicted someone of murder because of what the plant said.
No, this is as much of as In Search Of is weird. This really took it was all scientists, and they did the plants grew when they played classical music. They withered when they played heavy metal. And this guy was really actually showed, that they could feel pain and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do something more like we do the first 5 episodes.
Well, that's kind of how they figured it out. Like they actually connected like electrodes or something to the root system.
Yeah.
And they had basically a lineup, and the plant was there when someone got murdered, and blood and everything splattered all over the plant, and they had to clean it up. But it's like when the only witness to the crime was the plant. So they hooked up these things, and the plant was steady. You could see like this little wave that a plant produces in an electromagnetic thing, and
Yep,
you could was drawing it.
That's the
And-
same research that
and
this
when
guy came up
people
with.
when people walked by and talked to the plant, like, you know, it was calm. And then when the murderer came in, the suspect they had, like, hit her, and the plant heard his voice, like they said something, the needle went crazy. And then the next person came in and said something, and it went calm again. So they were like, why is it spiking and going nuts? When they had that guy come back in and the plant went crazy again. So they figured out he was the murderer based on this plant. They looked into it more and eventually found more evidence to prove that he was the one that committed the crime. But they thought it was interesting that the plant reacted to the guy because he heard his voice. The plant heard his voice in the room before he killed the person, you know? And so the plant
Are
knew.
you sure he wasn't a secret agent? I think that was Agent F on Phineas and Ferb.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a fern that had a hat. Did he have a hat on? Or did he have a fedora?
I don't think it had a fedora, but yeah.
That's funny.
Uh,
But yeah, I had some ideas for some, you know.
But yeah, I loved In Search of. I used to watch every episode. I loved his Bigfoot one. Yeah, I loved all that stuff.
In Search of Noah's Ark.
Yeah,
You know, In Search of Ancient Aliens and all that stuff. But
all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
all right, we'll figure it out in between all the other things you need to do.
The moon landing is like in a couple of years. I think they're landing on the moon in 2024, but which will really be 2026 because the rate that they're going, they won't actually do it on time. So, yeah, we'll see it at some point in our life. We'll see it.
We'll see him go back to the moon.
Or go there for the first time.
Exactly. At least this time, you know, the Chinese will be there taking pictures, so we'll know that it really happened.
Yeah, the Chinese will be, hey, welcome to the moon.
What are you guys doing? Would you like some tea? All right, guys.
All right.
Well, we're going to let you go.
Bye.
Thanks again to Super John for coming on. And we'll see you in the future. Watch both our channels. Please subscribe. I forgot to put them in the description down below, I think. You can always click on Super Awesome's name in the description and it'll take you right to his channel. We both got stuff coming out over the next week or so. Please go like, throw a comment, watch a couple minutes. I've had a whole bunch of people watch a video recently and they only watched the first 30 seconds. And it was like 200 people watch the first 30 seconds. Like, am I that boring that quickly?
Yeah, wow.
Generally, yes. So, but, all right. Later, guys.
Bye.
Catch you on the flip side.
Stay awesome, everyone.